Can I go opposite way
Any
or
way
do I
you
have
want.
to keep
No,
going?
anti-clockwise or clockwise.
Oh shit, that's cold.
There's an H.
Yay! Sorry, I'm just gonna get jumping.
You can
Science
choose your
or
own.
Children one.
Kids one.
Kids one?
Turn
I think
it
they're at the
there.
bottom, possibly.
Wait for Sue to come back.
Yeah, wait. What'd you get?
Kids,
Kids'
corner.
corner.
Aw, cute.
Once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs. They left their home to explore the world. What did the second little pig build his house out of? His house was made of sticks.
Aw.
We were just watching a new game that people have made, and it's beautiful art style, and it's based on storybooks.
Yeah.
And the main character is the big bad wolf, and they have what they call glamours, where they've made themselves look like humans and blended in with the mundies, which are us. We're not fables, we're not magical creatures, and they've lived their lives among us, and he is now the sheriff, and he is fighting between being good or being that big bad wolf again, and he has one of the 3 little pigs living in his apartment. And he keeps reminding him about how he blew his house down.
Oh, I see. Well, that's better than in the book, because when he died, he actually eats the... You read about him eating the pig. And I thought, did he eat the pig?
Before we pick up
Maybe
the
I
plans,
just
weren't they?
changed since I was a kid. I didn't find it frightening when I was a kid. Found it frightening reading it as an adult.
Yeah, no. It's frightening what the kids' stories say now. Looking back, you're like, oh my god, how did I, like, how come that was read to me?
I know. Do you know what I liked about that story was when they always would get up early. It was just so sensible. They always beat him, and he'd be so frustrated. But they'd go, oh, but we went up to get the apple off the tree at 4 o'clock. Oh, damn! I love that story.
It's
And
true.
I'll half and I used to, I love that story. I love fairy tales. Okay, and cybernetics. That's a cool name, isn't it? Maxwell Maltz, MD, gives a number of examples of people using mental practice, visualization, to improve their everyday lives. He describes how Napoleon practiced being a soldier in his imagination many years before he actually went on a battlefield.
Huh.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, I like that card, I believe in that card. For the one reason that Dad told me when I was younger, if I wanted to achieve something, to visualise it every night before I went to sleep. So for about 3 or 4 nights I envisioned my legs getting longer. This is in high school.
I shouldn't laugh.
No, I
It's
was
not
a bit
funny.
taller and still short, but I grew 2 centimetres that year. And the week after I'd done it, I had the most intense growing pains in my legs.
Whoa!
I couldn't stand, but it worked.
Worked for Napoleon, it worked for you.
Yeah, it was that did it, because I wouldn't have grown otherwise.
I have to say something. I don't know if this is relevant, but I was listening to the national program and they were talking about paper and the origins of paper and how paper has changed the world in relation to the Earth's total history.
Well, I think there's probably a few people in the world that probably need to read that statement.
Could you read it again,
Because-
please, Bonnie?
Because man in general seems to think that we'd be be all end all.
Yeah.
And looking at that statement just shows you that we're just babies.
spreading across the earth quite rapidly. You see some places are just chock-a-block full of people, and it's amazing to think how all of those people are just living their lives and they don't interact or anything, and we just sort of
Walk
pass
by each other.
And we're a society that lives very close with each other, and then you have these large civilizations that just brush people off and don't interact until they're forced to or need something or know that they're getting something from someone else. There's not a lot of people that do things for the
No.
greater good.
I picked charity, and the person that I would like to recognise with their charitability, also their help, free-handedness, and large-heartedness is Danielle, because earlier this year she held a quiz night to raise donations for, was it the earthquake victims? Earlier this year,
In the Philippines.
and she managed to raise a really astounding amount of money with the help of some other people, but mainly it was down to her.
And
And
Queenstown.
the other thing that she's doing is when she goes back over to the Philippines to see her dad, her and William are taking pens, pencils, paper, clothes, little things like that, balls, all that sort of stuff for the kids that are playing in the street, and things that they normally wouldn't get hold of, which is really, really good way to think of and what to do. Yeah. I think other people should maybe think a little bit like her.
Well done. I'll vote for that.
Yeah, me too. You put one in for me.
Yeah, sure. Janet? You're the winner of
There's
the...
always something you can do.
There's always something you can do. How about that?
Well, I'm really surprised by how much I've learned about, I mean, I know a lot about you, Mark. I've known you all my life. But I'm just really curious, I'm just really with what I've learned about you two today, and I think it's the sort of game that gets you talking to each other,
Yeah.
and not so much about yourself, though of course it's about you, it is about you, what you share, but things a little bit more than ourselves.
I learned something about you as well.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, I love that about it. I
So
think
it's
that's
a game that
amazing.
you can learn. It sort of opens up conversation topics about people that you may know, but also things that you may not, like it sort of brings in topics that not are usually spoken about or
Yeah.
wouldn't usually come up in a conversation. So it kind of opens, and it's kind of good though as well because you get to exercise different thought processes.
Yeah, that you wouldn't normally.
Because you, like the cards bring out, you really have to think sometimes.
Yeah, you do. Even I have to.
It
And I
gives
know-
people a chance to say something without prejudice. And they can say something honestly what they think without people having to go on a huge debate against them, or it's just hearing everybody's ideas about it, which is nice.
Yeah, perspectives.
I quite like the fact that it's not competitive, because most games out there are, and depends on who you play with. It can ruin the game if you're playing with someone who is really competitive, or is a really bad poor loser. But because it's a game where everyone's sort of equal the whole time, and it includes everyone when it's the other person's turn as well. It's quite enjoyable.
Yes, well, it's
Yeah.
the level of cooperation.
So it's, maybe it'll get to be in everyone's living room, in boardrooms around the world. I really designed it for couples because I know that it's really good for romance. Two people can play it and have a lot of fun. It doesn't have to be You can play 7 players.
With you could play and play and play. Said you can't cheat in this one, can
No,
you?
you can't
It's
cheat.
like Monopoly. Oh, you can cheat in Monopoly?
You can cheat in Monopoly.
Is the sound still running, Chris?
Yeah.
Sneaking
The sound's
you
still
don't
running
normally
if
have.
anyone wants to keep adding ad lib
Sneaking
comments.
money that you didn't normally have. Oh.
I'm just going to start slowly packing things up.